Hey everyone, this is Malthus from Fort Malthus. I figured I would show some of my 15 years of Dwarf Fortress experience and help you start a good fortress. So we're going to create a new world. We're going to do a small one. We're going to do 100 years, medium, medium, and everywhere. So I generally don't like to muck around with the macro settings for the world because you can unintentionally mess up something and not know it until it's too late. Okay, so it's going to go about and build our pocket world here. As you can see, we're already at year 75. If you have a lower end PC, I highly recommend doing a smaller world. It can save you a lot of heartache. Also, a lot of other things can save you a lot of heartache, such as using a smaller embark or significantly reducing the maximum number of dwarves. So the first thing we're going to do is go in here. We're going to find an embark. We're going to do a 3x3 because that is the best for mid to lower processor speeds. Dwarf Fortress is an unoptimized game and requires considerable amounts of RAM to run. A normal 4x4 with 100 dwarves will run at chunk speeds if you're not careful. So this is going to be all your standardized stuff. Some things that I always do: flux layers. You're going to want that if you're going to want to make steel. I don't do aquifers. I always do a river. I do at least some soil. I do clay. I don't really care about sand. I do iron, and that's it. I don't care about any of the secondary or high value metals. I mainly care about setting untamed wilds so that I have a chance to capture wild giant animals. So we'll see if we can find a spot here. We might have to tweak it around because it's a small map. So what we're going to do is we're going to check out this spot that it found. It was only able to find a partial match, and it is because the partial match does not have some soil. So we'll see what we got here. Temperature scorching, woodland, untamed wilds, moderate. Okay. So a couple things about Dwarf Fortress to consider is temperature. If the temperature is above a certain degree, you will not have water on the surface because it'll have all have evaporated unless it's a major river. So I've got a stream, and I guarantee you that when I start out, it'll probably be gone. It might come back during winter, but your best chance of getting water is going to be to dig down into your cave system and pump it up. But for right now, I think this is going to be a good example. As you can see, we have neighbors of elves, humans, and goblins. And we're going to go ahead and make this 3x3. We'll choose right there. So, as you can see, I've got a pre-saved embark we're going to use. It's called Dylan. That's my name. Let me show you what I've got to break down for my miners, or for my dwarves. I've got 4 miners, a farmer, a cook, and an herbalist. So, generally, I dig straight down in my fortresses. This isn't Minecraft. You're totally welcome to do that, especially as long as you have the warnings for wet and hot on. So, like, you're not going to accidentally dig into a lake, and you're not going to accidentally dig into a river of lava. So I do 4 miners at the beginning just to get the fortress started faster, a farmer to plant some crops, a cook to produce high value trade goods early on, and an herbalist to gather everything. Now, if we look at our skills here, our herbalist is a carpenter, brewer, mason. He's just going to be all of our random skills. Then we've got our farmer. He's our woodcutter. Now, you have to have at least one woodcutter, or at least an axe. Otherwise, you're gonna have some issues. On our cook, literally, just proficient cook, max level, and then I also threw in some doctor stuff because he's never really going to leave the fort, so he's always going to be around. My miners are pretty much all, I believe. One of them is an appraiser. You have to have one appraiser, otherwise you won't be able to trade goods adequately. And aside from that, I think I have, some combat skills just kind of thrown on there. Early on, your best dwarves for combat are going to be your miners because they'll always have a weapon equipped. So, just a few things. As you can see, I've got 0 points left. I've got a pretty good spread. One leather, at least one cloth, at least one silk. And the reason why is because if we have a strange mood and it requires any one of those, we'll have one. Lots of seeds, mostly plump helmet, because it's easy to turn into food. One anvil, so that I can make a blacksmith shop. One axe to be a wood chopping axe. 4 picks for each miner. A ton of alcohol. Assorted meats, fish. Now the thing about these, plum helmet, any vegetable you take, so these raspberries, this garlic, these plum helmets, any of those I take will not give me seeds when processed because they've already been processed according to the system. I do bring 1 quiver, 3 ropes, 5 bags, 5 thread, crutches, splints, buckets, all this normal stuff. I do drop the step ladder and I drop the wheelbarrow because you won't need those till later on. You can make your own. What I do after that is, after I've got all my basics, I load up on bituminous coal so that I can make just tons of fuel. That way, if you don't find any large veins, it's real easy to find your own. You've just got 66, which I believe turns into 6 or 8 each. So, quite a bit. Animals, 1 male, 1 female dog, 1 male and female sheep, because that way I can make wool products. I like goats because they're relatively fast to grow, and they're good for meat industry. 2 ducks for eggs. You can basically move these around to whatever you want. Obviously, you can drop the ewe and the ram, and just start out with some wool, or buy some on the first caravan. It's up to you. Generally, by the way, stay away from cats. They have a tendency to catsplosion. You can look that up on the wiki if you want. So let's get a lay of the land of our area here. We're in early spring, so that means that it's about, I would say about 45% of total temperature. We do have water, that's great. We even have a little waterfall, which we might be able to use later. We've got some holes, which I'm not a huge fan of. We have lots of trees. What we're going to do is we're going to designate trees to be cut down, just a whole bunch of them, and we're going to designate a whole bunch of other stuff to be dug up by our herbalists. Let's see. We want to be near our water, but give ourselves lots of room, so we're going to do a 2x1 here, and we're going to go down 3 or 4. Okay? Our dude should get on that pretty quick. In fact, I'm actually going to set up our laborers. Our miners are only going to mine for the time being, and our woodcutter is going to woodcut. Woodcutter going to woodcut. They'll finish whatever job they're doing, then they'll get on this. Okay, so let's see what we got here. We got siltstone, clay, sandy clay, loam, red sand, and top level. So when it said it didn't have a lot of soil, all it meant was that it had alternative soil. You can grow a farm plot on sand, you can grow a farm plot on clay. And depending on what color you like, you can use any of these to gather materials to build your walls and other things. So what I like to do is like to skip the first layer, because if they pick any of these plants and you have dug out any of these, it's going to create an empty tile up here that somebody can breach. So what we're going to do is we're going to skip this red sand layer and go down to the next one. We're going to make a nice pair of lungs, aka some hopefully fairly similar. Let's go ahead and add one more. And what they'll do is they'll dig that out. We'll put food on one side, we'll put everything else on the other. And then we'll do the same one level further down, and it'll be wood and stone. A couple of priorities are getting everything important inside and building up a trade depot. Aside from that, we don't really have much going on. Our dudes are just going to kind of do what they do. Let's see what everyone's doing. Digging, felling tree, fishing. Let's make you... I'm going to make our cook add a new work detail. He's going to be an herbalist, which I cannot think of off the top of my head. Dang it! Why is this doing this to me? Plant gathering. There it is. And then we're also going to want him to do cooking. So that's all he'll do. He's locked in. And then our little herbalist guy will do everything else. So, as you can see, they're making quick progress with this. We're going to go down one. Might as well do two. I like to do this like lung method where it's, you know, equal sized rooms on each side. I don't know, it just helps me organize better. They'll kind of bounce between these two levels. As you can see. This is a pretty slow part of the game. Let's set up our pasture so our dudes don't run away. Not that they do in this game. Animal training. I don't want animal training. I want pen and pasture. So this will set up where our animals can and cannot go. We'll set up everyone. So all the animals I started out with, plus we have 2 animals of burden. It could be anything. Very rarely a breeding pair, so never rely on that. Our guys are going to go get something to eat and drink, and then they'll head back down in the... Oh, they finished. Cool. Let's do the other side now. My goal with this video is to get a basic stockpile setup going, workshops, and then show you how I do my first trade caravan. So we're going to set up our trade depot. We can use whatever we want. We'll just use these because they're the closest. And as you can see, since we have 4 miners, things are going very smoothly. They're moving very fast. And it also puts us in a better position if we were to get attacked by wildlife early on, like a crocodile or something like that. You can check the wiki, but most wildlife is not hostile, except for cavern wildlife, which definitely is. Almost done. Of course, they've got to bounce around in like the most inefficient manner. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to actually make our food stockpile a little bit bigger, because we're also going to put a few other things in there, and then we're going to start making workshops. So we're going to do a kitchen. We're going to do this. Closest material. We're going to do... Oh, I don't want a farm plot. Come on, man. Here's our still. We're going to need that for all of our alcohol. And then just for some feng shui, I'm going to put our fishery down here. And I'm going to put our farmer's stand over here. I'm just going to use this. They'll come through and they will fix those up. We're going to do custom food. All. Sorry, all. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we want in here right now. I don't believe so. So this will be our main food stockpile. What we're going to do is we're going to go in here to our labor, turn this off. They should start bringing everything down. And while they do that, I'm going to make a secondary stockpile that will be for everything. This is highly inefficient, but for right now, it's what we're going to do. Our goal right now is to get everything out of the elements and protected from people who might come and steal it. Let's leave stone off. Let's leave weapons on. Wood off. And then we'll go down one. We will have... It's going to be our stone. And then we're going to go into custom after that. And we're going to do none. We don't want clay in there, because if we have a clay factory like I'm going to make, it will only have clay in it because clay is so amazing. So what we're going to do, one thing is clay, and boom boom, accept, and then we're going to do one more boom boom like that. We're going to make a workshop. We're going to make a kiln. Oh, we need to get a fire safe item. So we're going to go down a little bit more. See if we can get them to do some digging for us, even though they're... We just need to find fire safe material to make our stuff out of. Do a little exploratory digging. That should work. Church should work. Okay. They're going to build this kiln, hopefully. As you can see, they're bringing stuff in. This is our food stockpile. Since this is going to be our stone and our wood, what I would like to do is do this. And we're going to make all of our production buildings up here. Looks like we actually have a natural vein of bituminous coal. That's great. We can explore that here in a minute. And what else do we have? Lignite. That's another fuel. Gypsum. So, okay. And then we can do collect clay, set to repeat, set on high importance. And as you can see, one of our dwarves is getting clay, and it's just staying there. And she will stack those up indefinitely. And it's great. They're right next to the stairs. We can make a wall around our building, and everything's going to be relatively easy peasy lemon squeezy. We're going to start doing lavish meals, high importance. And we're basically going to have our cook do non-stop meals. We're going to, hold on, one thing before we do that. Labor, kitchen, go to your drinks, set all of these not to be cooked. Otherwise, you're going to lose all your stuff. Okay, workshops. We want stoneworkers. We want 2 of those. Carpenters. Probably want 2 of those. We want a mechanic. They use rock, so you're going to put it on that side. We're going to want a bow crafter, but we don't care about that right now. So let's just do crafter, and then we can leave this right now and do something else with it. Early on, what you want to do is kind of rush all of the production buildings, because you never know what your first strange mood is going to be, and you don't want to be without that building. It's not so bad in this version, but in the freeware version of Dwarf Fortress, if the one guy that could build your building went into a strange mood, there was nothing you could do. Okay. So we can build lots of other stuff now. So let's build everything else we haven't built. So there's our metalsmith. There's our jeweler. Bower. Leather worker. That's going to be big later. I try to really front load leather when it comes to the trade system because it's the easiest to gather, it's the lowest cost. So we should have one of everything now, and as you can see, we've got one clay here, about 25 here. These are fireproof and indestructible compared to wood. If you try to make all your palisades and roofs and that stuff out of wood, a dragon attacks or a flame elemental or something that's made of fire, you're going to be sorely mistaken if you think you're safe, because they'll set one forest fire and your entire base will be on fire. So as you can see, we've made a roast. We've actually made several. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to our stoneworkers shop and we're going to do throne. We're going to make, probably 10 of those. Same thing with beds. And the reason why is we're going to make a little alcove for them to sleep in for right now. It's going to be a dormitory. Low cost, but it'll give them some place to be quiet. We also need to have the chairs to make offices for our bookkeeper and our manager, two of the most important people in the fortress. It doesn't really matter where your barracks goes. Like, technically you could have it in a much better place where it's higher value and people like it more, but it's a barracks. It's basically just temporary. We're going to pause this for a second. I don't want these to go bad. So I want them to actually, spend the time to go pick them up. We've got a hamster in our base. After we get some thrones done, we are going to set it to auto make pots out of stone. Pots are great. They weigh a little bit more than a barrel, but you can trade them to dwarves without the dwarves trying to kill you. So generally pretty good. You can see we've got a lot of things in here just sitting. And if it's not in a food stockpile, it can go bad, thus causing a miasma. So for right now, I'm actually going to suspend this because they're not moving anything that I want them to move. See if they built any chairs. Hold on. Yeah, okay, that's all we need. Did you guys build any beds? Oh, good enough. Let's see what all of our guys are doing. Store elements, stockpile, construct building, collect clay. We're going to go and suspend our collection of clay because we need our food not to rot as a higher priority than we need our... Come on, guys. There we go. Let's make some rock pots. There. Boom, boom. And then all we've got to do is kind of let it go. I don't think we're going to keep going for right now. I think this is good for where we're at. Um, in the next one, we'll see the first caravan, and hopefully I can do one of these a night. I do have two little children, and things change. So, you know, I'll. I hope you guys like this series. I love the game. I love the community, and it's something I've always wanted to be able to share with people because I've been playing it since I was like a sophomore or junior in high school or something like that, and I'm 33 now. So, uh, if you need a place to go read, I highly recommend going and spending some time searching around the Dwarf Fortress wiki. Uh, I'm responsible for probably 100 pages of content on there, and everyone's welcome to make updates, especially as things change. There are currently two versions of the game: the Steam version, which is this version right here, and the version that's free. So there might be some discontinuity, but all I suggest is that you do your best, read, ask questions. There's forums. We're a pretty accepting community, and we love fun, and nothing says fun like brand new players. So I hope you guys had fun. I will see you next time. Malthus out.